Outsiders think it is. In fact, it boasts a character and a history that can sometimes even surprise Iowans. The community of Al-Kader, Iowa, is a case in point. It was named for Abdelkader, an Algerian who resisted French colonialism in the mid-1800s. Dan Karcher is our reporter for our regular Iowa Journal feature that we call Out About Iowa.
Al-Kader's history is written in its buildings and structures. The people of Al-Kader treasure their past, but their history works for today and tomorrow, too. The 1860s courthouse is still the county courthouse. The Keystone Bridge still links it with the business side of town. Built in 1889, it's known as the longest of its type west of the Mississippi. The 1890 building that became home to a cinema in 1941 and closed in the 1990s is showing movies again and selling DVDs. Still, the recently restored 1903 Opera House is the jewel in the crown, home to the city's offices in the basement and a wonderful theater above it. With just a piano, the Opera House players rehearse some of their fall musical for us, The Baker's Wife.
I will try to make you happy.
The ground floor level of this marvelous structure was a firehouse in one incarnation, but a combination of grants, donations, and a lot of volunteer sweat equity renovated it. The new Old Opera House opened in 2003 and is a regional center for the performing arts.
You make a scene. Such a pity.
The people who patronize it, the people who do things on stage, the people who help restore it are really from a wide area.
Al-Kader is experiencing a sort of rejuvenation, and some of its new energy comes from outside the community. In this old building, they make artistic lighting fixtures sold all over the world. Fire Farm, as it's called, was started by a native Californian who fell in love with the town.
I'd never been here before. My wife's family is from this town, but she had never been here either. She came back and rediscovered it.
Actually, Pollock's wife's mother hadn't been here in about 50 years either. But 3 generations moved back.
One of the first things we did when we visited was go look at the public school system, and they still had band, they still had shop, they still had, all the programs that had been cut out of the school system in California.
Treats, etc., a coffee shop and cafe, is run by another native Californian who fell in love with the town when she visited her former neighbors.
Thank you. Enjoy.
As to that Algerian connection, well, it's been updated too. In 1984, Al-Kader became a sister city to a town in Algeria named Mascara, birthplace of Al-Kader's namesake. And in another old building on Main Street, an Algerian restaurant recently opened. We stopped by to try some authentic Algerian cuisine.
Are most people a mixture of native Algerian?
The son of an Algerian diplomat and a French mother, Frédéric Boudouani, discovered Al-Kader when he started researching the history of Islam in America after 9/11. His partner is from Iowa, and Frédéric eventually found the Iowa town named for a Muslim leader.
It happened that the Muslim leader is from Algeria. He's the George Washington of Algeria, so it was a big revelation for me. So we looked it up in the map, and next time we were in Iowa, we made a visit and kept coming back and making friends, and here we are.
The restaurant is called Shiraz, short for Scheherazade, and it also serves American food. There are 2 historic buildings here that haven't joined the 21st century. They're museums, like the George Meyer Rural Heritage Center. This old sale barn houses an amazing collection of artifacts that trace the history of rural living in the Midwest. And all this is only about half the collection of one man, George Meyer. Built in the 1850s, the Carter House Museum is named for the 2 brothers who first owned it. A duplex, each brother's family lived on one side of the 18-room Greek Revival mansion. Today the home offers a look at life at the turn of the last century. If history is your passion, then you'll want to check out the Osborne Nature Center south of town this weekend. Run by the Clayton County Conservation Board, The area where the Pioneer Village stands will be the site of the center's 33rd annual Osborne Heritage Days weekend.
That segment's worth the price of admission, just discovering a new part of Iowa. Well, Dan is going to join us from time to time just to, bring us up to date and add to his report. And Dan, what do you have for us?
Well, that Osborne Heritage Days is a wonderful celebration going on in Al-Qaeda this weekend. And you can visit the 1880 Pioneer Village. You can see a great nature center and then join in a chili cook-off, buffalo chip throwing, storytelling, pumpkin contest, a classic Iowa event. I did want to mention that The Baker's Wife will be performed at the Opera House this weekend, and Shara's will be open for Algerian food. And do check ahead first, but you can visit the two museums.